Greetings everyone, this is Rob Sanders with Simplilearn and welcome to today's edition. Today we're going to talk about digital marketing through Facebook. So there's lots to cover, so sit back, enjoy, take some notes, and feel free to comment in the comment section. So let's start out with Facebook itself. Okay, so Facebook, obviously a social networking platform. It's been around for a few years, but it's come a long way. I mean, today on Facebook, you can host 360-degree videos. You could sell products via chatbot. You could basically be a news network on Facebook. I mean, we've all seen the results of that over the past few years internationally. That's where people go to get their news. So it's really come a long way. In fact, Facebook basically has about 1.5 billion daily active users. That's a lot of people engaging in the network. According to HubSpot, the average user spends about 60 minutes per day on Facebook. That's an hour of 24 spent just on the social media platform. Now, a lot of people gravitate towards Facebook. A lot of different ages, demographics, countries use Facebook for various reasons. But despite all its use, despite all this, HubSpot is reporting that only 48% of marketers think that their Facebook efforts are effective. Only 48%, is less than half of marketers, in other words, are frustrated with Facebook. There's a lot you can do with Facebook, and so that's what we're going to focus today's session on, all the things that you should be doing on Facebook to better engage with your users. Okay, so first thing we're going to talk about is really setting up the perfect Facebook page. Okay, so that's, I think, where a lot of companies go wrong. I think people are just quick to jump onto Facebook as a network just because their competitors are on there. Somebody told them they had to be on Facebook, and then what happens? They get a 50% effort output on the Facebook page, with no updated post, no information, no best practices applied. So basically the old saying is garbage in, garbage out. That's what you get when you don't follow best practices or apply all the best features Facebook has to offer. So really, when it comes to setting up a Facebook page, you want to start with the basics. You want to have a good profile picture. First of all, I mean, if it's you, yes, you want a picture of you. But if you're representing a company or organization, you really got to give second thought about what that profile picture is going to be. Obviously relevancy comes to mind, but, is it in good taste? Is it updated? Is it fit the brand guidelines of the organization? Okay. Then you want to, you can also accompany that profile picture with a cover photo. So again, you ask yourself, is the cover photo outdated? Is it recent? Is it in good taste? And I think this is where a lot of people go wrong, and that's really adding a good description. Not a dissertation by any means, but a short description that just explains what the organization or company is all about. Common sense, but you would think that adding a description wouldn't be a big deal, but it is a big deal because you want people to know what you're all about. And you want to create a good username for your page because that's a username people are going to hopefully remember. So you want to pick wisely there. You don't want something long, something that people aren't going to remember or misspell when they try and type it in. You could certainly add your page to shortcuts, and when you actually set up your page, you have several roles that you can assign to people. So my advice is, if you're going to operate a Facebook page for your organization or company, add multiple people to the page to help out. You're not going to be able to do everything on Facebook by yourself unless that's your sole job 24 hours a day, because there's lots and lots and lots of things you could be doing on Facebook. So set up a role. You can play the role of admin, but you have other roles that you can assign to other people within the organization. You can assign editors, moderators, people to handle just the advertising, or you can hire just or assign an analyst role to people who can go in and just look at the results of your post. So you have various page roles that you can assign on Facebook. Now, the other important feature when you're working with a Facebook page is to customize the notifications. Okay, you want to be notified when somebody responds, likes, engages. You want to set up notifications for your ads if you're running Facebook ads. So there's lots of notifications. So make sure you customize those so that you're in the know on a daily basis. Okay. And one other best practice that I don't necessarily see all that often on a Facebook page, and that's adding a CTA or call to action. So don't be afraid to move people from the ecosystem of Facebook to your website, where likely there's more information. So add a good call to action on the Facebook page. You can keep people within the environment and ecosystem of Facebook, or you can move them to your website or blog or, somewhere else. Just add a CTA. Let people do something when they're on your page. That's really the point of the CTA. So those are just some of the best practices for really setting up a Facebook page. I mean, again, there's lots of things you can do. And we're going to talk about more of those as we move forward. But just doing those basic things, just making sure, you keep those photos and those pictures up to date. Change the description every once in a while. Play around with the CTA. Just continue to, keep the page vibrant. It's like watering a plant. If you don't keep it updated, it's going to die. And people are going to recognize that. So, you have your Facebook page. You do have an option. And if you want to reach more people on Facebook, you have the option of advertising on Facebook. And so you have something called just basically classic ads on Facebook. So the whole idea of advertising on Facebook is, again, if your goal is to generate more, likes on your page, or maybe it's to drive people directly to your website, that's basically what you can do. That's you have to pick what your strategy is, okay, or your objective. So Facebook's going to guide you through that process if you're interested in advertising. Now, the great thing I like about Facebook advertising, unlike, say, paid search ads on Google, is that you can really hone in on your audience. It could be a specific demographic or a group of people who have the same interests that you're trying to promote. Okay. So the benefits of running advertising on Facebook is you can really hone in on who your audience is. You can also decide where to run your ad. I mean, Facebook has an advertising network, if you will, that includes Facebook Messenger, Instagram, obviously newsfeed, email. So there's a lot of things that you can choose from with Facebook. So you want to be able to pick and choose where you want to run those ads. And Facebook advertising has multiple types of ad formats, anything from videos to images. So you could pick your format, test your format. The thing I also like about Facebook advertising, because anybody who's seen my videos in the past knows that I'm a big proponent of A+B testing. So within Facebook Ads Manager, there are components to set up A+B testing on call to actions. And so to me, that's a great feature of advertising. You always want to test what people react to. And so that's built into Ads Manager. And of course, when you're advertising on Facebook, you can control it all with a budget. So Facebook's going to let you know, basically based on who your audience is, where you're advertising, what your objective is, this is how many people you're going to reach. This is what they recommend on the budget. So you can go with a recommended budget, or you can just choose your own budget. The whole idea, though, behind advertising on Facebook is to really hone in on a strategy. Okay, why are we going to spend money on Facebook? Is it to generate leads? Again, is it just to generate more engagement on our Facebook page? So you really want to give it some thought before you dive in and start spending money. When you do make that dive and you do start advertising, again, there's a lot of things that you can take advantage of with Facebook advertising. There's lead ads. basically allowing people to submit a form right then and there. Okay, there's video ads, as I mentioned. Video ads, to me, are probably going to be the most effective and impactful of all the forms of advertising, because that's what people want. They want video nowadays. They want to be able to read and listen and engage. Okay, you can run engagement ads. You can remarket on Facebook, meaning target people who've already been to your Facebook page or been to your website. Okay. You can do interest targeting, meaning if you have a group of people who have the same interest as your organization, maybe that could be, picking up plastic from the ocean. Okay. There are probably a large amount of people on Facebook who share that same interest. I know I do. I have that interest. So there's always an interest out there to be had and targeted. Of course, with Facebook, you have demographic targeting based on age and gender, and you have behavioral targeting. Now, behavioral targeting to me is the hidden gem of Facebook. So, for instance, you could target ads to people who, say, purchased a piece of clothing for you. Okay? So, if they purchase, you can retarget them based on a previous behavior of purchasing a piece of clothing. I mean, if you're selling health products or beauty products or pet products, it doesn't matter. The behavior is all going to be the same. You can pick and choose based on that behavior. So behavioral targeting to me is a good feature to take advantage of if you're going to run Facebook ads. Now, another thing I like about Facebook advertising is basically the use of carousel ads. So carousel ads are basically multiple images or videos. So instead of just running one video ad or one image ad, you can put them together, and you can have, I believe, up to 10. So within the same ad unit. So you can have a rotating imagery, if you will, or carousel of images. And so basically, the great thing about this is it's interactive. It allows you to put more of your message and more of your brand, more of your focus out front. Okay? And I found through my experience that carousel ads along with video ads, tend to work really well. Okay, so just keep that in mind. If you're going to do Facebook advertising, keep some of these features in mind in terms of behavioral targeting, demographic targeting, running lead ads or carousel ads. The other thing that you should know about Facebook advertising is the use of a Facebook pixel. So what does that Facebook pixel mean? Well, it means that if you want to drive traffic from your advertising to your website, you want to be able to track that behavior. And that's what the Facebook pixel does. It allows you to basically track website behavior when somebody comes from your Facebook ad. So if you insert the Facebook pixel directly on your website, then Facebook will be able to tell you in its own reporting console what people have done. Did they engage once they went to your website? Did they convert, meaning download something, fill out a form submission, purchase something? Okay, so keep that Facebook pixel in mind. So if you're going to run advertising on Facebook, that's what you want to do. You want to be able to leverage that Facebook pixel. Now, let's switch over to some of the other things that you can do on Facebook. And so if you have a large number of followers, if you're a popular brand, or even if you're trying to generate more likes and more followers on your Facebook page, then, a contest is probably not a bad idea. I mean, who doesn't like a contest? So to me, you can run a Facebook contest right on Facebook. Very simple idea, but, if you apply some of the best practices, it could really pay off for you. So let me just run through some of the best practices in setting up a Facebook contest. First things first, you have to choose a price. So in my opinion, I think a gift card tends to work best as a prize. It could be for a specific store. United States, Target and Walmart are always good, or Apple if you want to really go higher end, or just something very generic, maybe a $25, $50 gift card to Amazon, where you can allow the winner to choose what they want. Regardless of the specifics, gift cards are always flexible to use, okay? So it ensures that entrants of the contest have an interest in your products, okay? Which, if they have an interest, then they're going to be easier to convert into a sale. So you want to offer something that's going to be of interest, okay? The next thing you need to do is decide what the users have to do to enter. So in my opinion, you want to make it as simple as possible, but get what you need to get. So do they need to submit a photo? I've run Facebook contests in the past for some of my clients. Photos always tend to work because that's what people tend to do on Facebook anyway, is submit photos. Okay, so a little bit more behind the photo is you want to capture something along with that photo. So to me, an email address tends to work. That way you have something of value along with that photo. That way you can leverage that email later on down the road, whether you do email marketing or Facebook lookalike or something of that nature. Okay, so you have to decide what it is you're going to ask users to do. So keep it easy, but get something of value in return. So once you've made those preliminary decisions, build your Facebook contest page. So make the contest page simple but exciting. Okay, so that's the whole point. You want people to enter. So you want to have attention-grabbing titles. You want to use high-quality images. You want to obviously enter in the prize information and the contest information, the important dates, when it starts, when it ends. Okay, you want to have that all-important submission form. Again, that goes back to, what are you capturing? Are you capturing just name and email address? Or are you capturing name, email address, city, other information like interest? Are you adding questions? So just be careful on the submission form. And then you want to be able to, have share buttons and allow Facebook comments as well. Okay, so when you build your contest page, then you obviously want to promote your contest. I'd like to think that goes without saying that you can use other social platforms like Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok to promote the contest on Facebook. You want to get people there and participate. Yeah. Another option could be running the Facebook ads for the contest. That's probably not a bad idea. So remember, you can use carousel ads or lead ads or behavioral targeting or interest targeting. You can use all those ad features I mentioned a couple minutes ago to help drive traffic to that contest page and get contestants. So obviously you run the contest, you monitor the contest. Facebook has something called Facebook Insights built in right into Facebook's platform, so you'll be able to measure the results of the contest. And then when the contest is all said and done, well, what do you want to do? Well, you want to profile the winner. Okay, so you want to let everybody know, hey, contest is over, so-and-so won, and you want to share those results on Facebook and other social networks. I mean, you could even create a video showing the winner to generate a little bit more excitement. You can send follow-up. In fact, I would even recommend you send follow-up emails to all the people who entered into the contest. Okay, thank them. Hey, that gets you closer to getting more sales. Okay, and then you could tease people with a future contest. So at the end of the day, contests are always a good idea to generate more excitement, more brand, more buzz. Now, moving on from the contest, another thing that you could do on Facebook is promote your post. So if you're not doing any paid advertising, however, you're posting a lot on Facebook, you have the option to promote your post. And so what does that mean? So basically, it's a form of advertising using some of your organic post, and it just allows you to allow that post to get more visibility. Okay, it allows you to market it in the news feed so more people can see it. Okay, so you choose your post, you set a budget, and then the post is shared to a set number of Facebook members. Okay, and so you could turn it on and off that promoted post anytime you want. Okay, now from my experience, promoted posts are really good. It's a really inexpensive way to highlight a specific post that you feel needs attention. So if you're posting a lot and you feel that post is going to get buried and doesn't get the visibility that it deserves, then consider promoting it. It's really, in my opinion, cost effective. Now I know that's all relevant, but promoting a post definitely generates a lot more awareness. So if you have really something important to say and show, then consider promoting it. It's really that simple. It's just right there within the post. Facebook allows you the option to go ahead and just promote it with said budget. The other thing you can do on Facebook is sponsored stories. So really, sponsored stories are just short user photo and video collections that can be viewed a few times and they disappear after 24 hours. It's really similar to users who operate on Snapchat. That's basically the concept behind it. It's just focused around Facebook's in-app camera, okay, which you can overlay with filters and lenses just like you can on Snapchat. And you can add some visual effects and tags and also you can have fun with it basically. So a sponsor story is just, allows you to manipulate videos and photos to tell a more complete story in a more fun way, basically. So have fun with sponsored stories on Facebook. Another thing that you could take advantage of, and this is something I would recommend, is using Facebook's Open Graph. So what is Facebook Open Graph? So for those that aren't familiar, it's been around a while. I think we're in 2021 to 2010. That's how long Facebook Open Graph has been around. It's just simply a protocol. And what that protocol does, it extracts certain elements from your page. So title, images, URL, and other meta information from your website. Okay. And what Facebook does is pull that information, and that's what they're going to display in social posts. So it allows basically your website to communicate with Facebook and allow you to control what information gets said and seen in Facebook. Okay. Or which elements of your page you really want somebody to share regarding your website. So that's basically what a Facebook Open Graph is. Okay, so that's something you implement on your own website. So moving on from Facebook Open Graph, you have Facebook Exchange, also known as FBX. Okay, so that's been around a few years as well. I think 2012 is when it launched. And it's just a platform for advertising services to desktop users. Okay, so that's the key. It's really for desktop users. It's not available on the Facebook mobile app. Okay, and it just allows you to do real-time bid purchases. It allows online advertisers really to place ads onto Facebook's sidebar or directly onto a user's timeline as they scroll down. Okay, so it just allows you, an advertiser, to get your product out there a little bit more. Okay. So you have sponsored stories, you have Open Graph, you have Facebook Exchange, you have Facebook advertising, promoted posts, you have all sorts of options available on Facebook. I think the key thing, though, to remember when you're on Facebook is to always provide value. So what do I mean by providing value? So think of it as value-added content. And so value-added content, because that's basically what you're doing, you're promoting or pushing content on their platform. You want it to be unique and original. You want it to be exclusive content or information that your audience really can't get anywhere else. Okay, so that's the whole idea behind value-added content. You know, you can repost and rehash what other people have written, but to me, the whole idea behind Facebook is to write something really unique that really resonates with your audience. Okay, and if you can do that, you're probably going to naturally gain more followers and generate more likes and engagement on your Facebook page. Okay. The other thing you want to do along with that value-added content is really, in my opinion, I've talked about this on other webinar sessions with Simplilearn, and that's really generating or leveraging a social media platform like a Sprout Social or Hootsuite. And why do you want to leverage those? Is because it allows you to really just create a content counter, think about the content, the value-added content you're going to publish ahead of time, and it allows you to consistently publish at a good time and day. And so you're consistent with your publishing and your schedule. That's the whole point beyond using a social media platform. If you don't, not a big deal. You can go right into Facebook, just like clockwork, and publish when you feel it's the right time to publish. I mean, everybody's publishing schedule is going to be different. Everybody lives in different time zones. Every company's audience is different. And let's just face it, there's going to be differentiation. So there's not a set schedule. It's just what you're comfortable with that's going to be right for you and your audience. The key is consistency. So, and that's where the social media platforms like the Hootsuites and the Sprout Socials come into play. Now, a couple other things you want to do to take advantage of Facebook: engage with your fans, meaning if somebody comments positively or negatively, go ahead and engage with them in a positive manner. Okay, put some focus on relevancy when it comes to your fans. Okay, so you always want to attract people who have like-minded interests. Always keep that in mind. Okay. Now, if you're trying to build more fans and followers, you could certainly use graph search. And basically all graph search is typing something into the feed bar in Facebook, a keyword basically, and if you type in, say, coffee shops or something of that nature, basically Facebook's going to allow you to see, pages that your friends have liked, friends who, live near, coffee shops who live nearby. So it's going to give you some feedback and other suggestions based on that keyword or interest. So take advantage of the graph search on Facebook to generate like-minded or similar pages. It allows you to find people that you can connect with on Facebook. Now, the last thing we're going to talk about with Facebook is metrics. Always my favorite subject. For those that have listened to me for a while know that I am big not only on just A+B testing, but on measuring data. And so, of course, just like Google Analytics or any other social networking platform, Facebook has its own set of metrics. And so I'm just going to run through some of those metrics that you should be aware of. And so we're going to start out with engagement. So engagement is, in my opinion, probably the number one metric you want to measure within Facebook's ecosystem. Not necessarily the most important, however, it is at the top of the list. Okay, obviously conversions are always going to trump everything, but engagement is a form of conversion. People are engaging with your post or with your contest or with a video. And so that's really all engagement is. It's just a number of times somebody took action on your post. Okay, whether they liked it, whether they shared it, whether they left a comment, those are all forms of engagement. So to me, engagement allows you to really see over a period of time, over a period of post, how well you're performing. And you want to leverage engagement to make adjustments to your post. I mean, if you've posted, say, 20 posts on Facebook and you've got no engagement, then you probably want to circle back and think about what kind of posts you're writing. Are you adding value-added content to your relevant audience? That's really the key with engagement. Okay. Reach is another metric. Reach is just the number of times people have seen your content on Facebook. That's all it is. Okay. Reach is the number of people your content is seen by on Facebook. So that's all reach is. Okay. So reach is a number that takes into account both organic and paid. Okay. So how many people is your post really reaching, whether that be paid or organic? Okay. And so obviously that number you want as big as possible. So you're going to probably start out small, but you want that to grow, because that's where the engagement part goes in. The more your post engage, the more people are going to like, the more people are going to connect with you, and the bigger your reach is going to be. So the other metric is impressions. And so impressions is basically the visibility, okay, of your post. Okay, how many people saw your post? That's impression. Okay, so, you know, if you're reaching 100 people, of those 100 people, how many people saw it? How many impressions did you have? Now, if it's 100, you obviously want 100. If it's 10,000, you want 10,000 impressions. And so you want as many people possible to see that post. And if they haven't, and it's an important post, then remember, you have the option to promote that post. And so that's going to give you the boost you need to go ahead and get more visibility for that specific post, so you can increase the impression counts. Okay. Now, the other thing you want to measure with Facebook is referral traffic. So if you're running a contest and sending people back to your site, or you're running Facebook ads and sending people back to your website, you want to leverage Google Analytics or a similar tool to measure how much referral traffic Facebook actually drove. Okay, so that to me is key if you're driving traffic back to your website. So always keep that in mind. Okay, how much traffic is Facebook really driving? And more importantly, of the traffic that's going to my website, how much of that is converting? So that's something you want to look at. Of course, if you're running a Facebook page and you're not doing any Facebook advertising, page likes are something you want to keep a tab on. Okay, how many people liked or followed you directly on your page? Okay, obviously you want that number to grow over time. Okay, and again, it goes hand in hand with the amount of content and the value-added content that you're posting on Facebook. Okay, so obviously with Facebook ads or organic post on Facebook, you have the option of videos. And so if you're going to post videos, then you want to be able to see retention, meaning what percentage of your videos were watched. Okay, and so to me that's important, because if I post a good video and it's say 30 seconds and I didn't get that many people to watch it, then what does that say about the quality of the video? Or vice versa, if I have a 2-minute video and I have a large percentage of the people who only saw say 25 to 30 seconds, what does that tell you? You need to kind of compress that video down. So retention to me is an important metric on Facebook related to videos, and then obviously engagement. Remember, I said earlier that most people like to engage with videos on Facebook. And so you want to be able to measure the amount of likes, shares, or comments that video received. So retention and engagement are both available for videos on Facebook. And then rounding out the metrics, when you're doing Facebook ads, you're going to have some key metrics that you're going to want to measure. Okay. Aside from cost, you want to really measure click-through rate. And click-through rate basically is just the percentage of people that saw your ad and then clicked on your ad. That's all click-through rate is. Okay. So you want a very high click-through rate, obviously. If 100 people saw your ad, you obviously want 100 people to click on the ad. Okay. The thing about Facebook advertising is the cost model could be cost per impression or cost per click. So if it's cost per click, obviously you want that number to be as low as possible. That's the whole idea. So if you get 100 people clicking on your ad, then obviously if that cost per click is low, then you're not spending as much. So to me, it's better to pay, say, $500 for 1,500 clicks than, say, paying $500 for 250 clicks. Obviously, the $1,500 means your CPC is a lot lower than the $2 you were spending for 250 clicks at a cost of $500. So that's the whole key here, is to try and run ads and keep that cost per click low. Okay, so the other metric you want to measure with Facebook ads is cost per acquisition, or CPA. Okay, and basically that just measures the cost based on a specific action. So if you're asking somebody to fill out a form submission, okay, how much did it actually cost you in advertising dollars to get a person to do just that, fill out a form submission? Okay, if it was $100, then you got to ask yourself, wow, is that high? Obviously, cost per acquisition numbers always need to be low. Okay, so if you're selling t-shirts at a cost of say $10, if your cost per acquisition is $10, okay, you're in trouble. You want to keep that cost per acquisition number as low as possible. So that's a key metric to always keep in mind for Facebook advertising. And then another metric to kind of look at or keep an eye on is ad frequency. So how many times did people see my ad? Okay, so you want to be able to show your ad probably at most 2 to 3 times. I mean, if somebody's seen your advertisement 5, 6, 7 times, they're just going to ignore it. And so to me, those are just wasted impressions. And so you want to be able to control your ad frequency, the number of times you want somebody to see your ad. It could be 1 time, it could be 2 times. But you obviously don't want somebody to see your ad 5, 6, 7 times. Otherwise, you're just not going to get probably much out of that. So those are all the different types of metrics available in Facebook. You know, heed my advice. Pay close attention to the metrics. That's going to tell you a lot about how your Facebook page is performing. So that does it for us today on digital marketing through Facebook. I appreciate your attention. If anybody has any comments or questions, feel free right below this video to add them, and we're more than happy to respond accordingly. So I want to thank you again. I look forward to our next video. In the meantime, take care.